Alright, we're going to work on the Landpride 15 series rotary tiller today. I'll replace the knobs on it. So this is your specs for each of the model numbers. I have 6 flanges, as you see here. That means I have the RTA1550. So that kind of lets you know how many you need to buy. And then if you go back here to the actual parts diagram, it shows 6 flanges there. Shows 2 is one of the knives, 3 is another knife, and then you got 4, 5, and 6 is the hardware to attach them. So if I go over here, as you can see, there's your right hand tiller knife, your left hand tiller knife, and 4, 5, and 6, the size bolt with the nut and the lock washer. So I would just say stick to the grade 5. That just allows, the shear on the bolt just to keep it with OEM. But you can probably, I went and bought 4, 5, and 6 from Tractor Supply, which you'll see later. And then these 2 knives I bought online. So we'll go ahead and get to it. Howdy folks, we are here with the Hangry Angler. We're working on this Landpride 15 series cultivator. Right now we're replacing these knives on the flanges. They have much needed it, and this one became loose, so I was like, it's about time, prior to it wearing out the hole in the flange. So right now we're removing all the bolts, the ones that you can't. I'm going to cut off afterwards, but removing all the ones I can right now. How I'm doing is I'm just taking a big steel bar. You see that blue one? I'm putting it in between the 3-point at the top, and that'll keep this thing from rotating a whole lot. And I'm using a breaker bar with a 3/4 inch nut on it and just breaking them loose. And then the ones that break loose and they're nice and easy to get off and they're not gold, I use this little driver with a little swivel with a 3/4. And that seems to do the trick once they're loose, but you're not getting them off until afterwards. And it's hard because you can't fit anything between these flanges. That's the smallest driver I have. And yeah, so it won't fit in here just straight, so kind of out of luck. But we're moving through. Just figured I'd show you how I'm taking them off. That blue bar up there, and then just using the breaker bar to get them loose, and then a socket or the driver to get them off. But we're going to keep rocking them. And I'll bring you back once all the knives are done, and all we got to have these blank flanges left, and we'll get moving. Alright, like I said, so I have a few more off. I'm gonna cut this one off because it's gonna be a pain trying to get something on that head, keep it from turning, because both of them are worn. So I'll probably just cut that right there between the nut and the washer. I'm using a disc cutoff wheel on my angle grinder. I'll just cut that off. So after I get the rest off, I'll be back to you. Alright, here we are. All the knife pieces are off. So now we're getting close to installing the new ones. So this is the RTA1550 Landpride series. It's the 15 series, but the Landpride. So I have 6 flanges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how you know which model number you have. There's 4 knives per flange, both. So they come in 2 types. You've got your left one and your right one. So what I'll say for that is there's 2 types. So you've got your leading edge, which has the knife on it. Hopefully y'all can see that. It's got a knife. And so you need 2 different sides. You've got a left and a right, as you can see here. Maybe they write it on here. Right hand. You see it? Right hand at the end. So that's one set. Seeing if I've got the other model number on there, but the other one's just the same model number, but it's 55C. So 820055C is the left hand. So I didn't realize this was such a thing until my sister asked me how you know how to put these on. So essentially you're gonna put them all in the same row, facing the same way. and they always go on the opposite side of the flange. And I say that because you need to have that cutting edge cut here. If you were to put one on one side and one on the other, then you'd have that line when you went to cultivate that wasn't getting cut each time. So make sure you put this side on the other side of the flange and you bolt it on with the knife going that way. So then you get full cutting all the way through. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and put one or two on, and then I'll bring it back so you can see how they look. Alright, so this is kind of what it's gonna look like. Like I was saying, you always want to put on the opposite side of the flange. Hopefully this makes sense now. And the leading edge should be the knife side. You know, I would just start your tractor and make sure this rotates this way so you know the leading edge is the knife. So I'm not going to do all of them like this. I just wanted to show y'all because it would be in the center. But I'm going to start at one end so then I can get all the bolts and nuts put in. I can work with my socket. I wouldn't do all the way across like that because then you're going to be fighting towards the end trying to tighten the bolt with these two in between. So I'm going to go ahead and put all the knives on. Hopefully this was helpful. I forgot to say, I ended up getting new bolts, nuts, and lock washers. And I was going to use the same lock. Well, I'm going to use these old ones and I'll return the other ones I bought. But I'm going to go ahead and put new bolts and nuts on there. I say that just because they're starting to get super worn. And I figure if I put these on for another, 5 years, I'm not going to have any head left or nut left on there. Plus 2 sets were wobbling. So I'm replacing the bolt, the nut, and then I'm going to reuse these split washers at the time being. So, and those all were bought from Tractor Supply. The old bolts didn't have thread all the way through. They were just single piece. The ones from Tractor Supply out the bucket, which were cheaper, were threaded through, and they didn't have 1 1/4 inch, so I bought 1 1/2 inch. But I'm going to go ahead and keep on cranking. Alright, so they're all on there. I just hand tightened them. Then used the socket wrench, just kind of tighten them up a little bit. I didn't cinch them down yet, but wanted to make sure. So mine rotates towards us like this. So just make sure prior to you tightening everything down, the knife section should be cutting towards you. Like if you're looking at this. So I go down each one, just make sure the knife is coming towards me. As long as that's working, mine rotates this way. I would just make sure, your tractor rotates the same way. You just cut on the PTO, see which way it spins. But have all these on there, so I'm just going to go ahead and cinch them down. And we'll be done with this project. So hopefully this helps somebody out. Well, I'm wrapped up now. Got everything cleaned up. This is a box of scrap. I actually thought about it because these things are like $13 a pop. That didn't even include taxes right now. So I'm thinking maybe if I keep some of these, I can actually use 2 of them and try to make a knife from them. I guess I would use the other side so that they would come together, but it's got the holes in it. I can just kind of trim it right here and then weld them together. I already have a welder. So, $13 a pop. It takes me 5 minutes to weld these things together. It's a good return on investment. So I'll just leave those around, and if I have time, I'll weld some together and see if it works as a replacement. But right now, these look good. Hopefully you enjoyed the movie. If you did, like and subscribe. Hopefully I'll see you next time.